I stole a laptop with the Vatican's darkest secrets at 3 a.m. The shocking truth revealed. Every fiber in my body screamed danger as I stood outside the Vatican's towering walls at 3 a.m., heart pounding like a war drum. Who could imagine that this moment, cloaked in shadows and whispers, would lead to uncovering secrets so dark they could rattle the foundations of faith? Because let me tell you, what I found inside that cold, stone fortress wasn't just information, it was a loaded gun. It all started with a simple tip-off from a disgruntled priest, a man whose bright eyes now shimmered with the weight of unconfessed sins. "There's a laptop," he murmured, casting quick glances as if the very walls had ears. "It holds files that would change everything you think you know." My mind raced. A laptop? Hidden in the Vatican? The mere thought was electric, a charge racing through my veins as I clutched the crumpled note he slipped to me. Navigating through narrow, dimly lit corridors, the air was thick with tension. Each creak of the old wooden floor sent chills racing up my spine. I could hear my own breathing, low and shaky, while the flickering of candles cast erratic shadows, hinting at silhouettes whispering sins long buried. The smell of ancient wood and polished marble hung heavily, mixing with something metallic. Was it blood? My gut twisted. Each step drew me closer to the hidden vault, but then it happened. A sudden silence enveloped the hallway. So still, it felt like the world held its breath. Just then, out of the dark, a shrouded figure slid into view, watching me. My heart froze. Who were they? A guard? A shadow of my own fear? Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Every nerve in me screamed to run, but fear turned to curiosity. This was at the moment of reckoning. I edged closer, heart racing, the laptop glowing ominously at the end of the room. What dark truths lay waiting? My hands trembled as I reached for the cool metal, wondering if that would be the moment I would become the hunted. Suddenly, the figure stepped forward, revealing a face I recognized but never expected to see. The priest. But why was there such an unsettling gleam in his eye? Did he lead me here for a purpose, or was this trap all along? The questions crashed around me like thunderclaps as I stood frozen, caught in a web of secrets and lies. What had I gotten myself into? The laptop was just the beginning, and I knew I was in way over my head. The answers seemed so close, yet oh so far away. I could feel the darkness closing in, and I was left wondering, would I uncover the truth or would I end up lost in the shadows forever? The priest's gaze pierced through the dim light, and I felt my stomach drop. Was he friend or foe? Every instinct warned me to back away, but the laptop beckoned like a forbidden fruit. The air shifted, thickening with anticipation. I had to know what secrets lay hidden within that metallic case. "What are you doing here?" His voice was a low hiss, laced with urgency. "You shouldn't have come." "I came for the laptop," I managed to reply, barely above a whisper. "You said it held the truth." "The truth?" He scoffed, shaking his head. "It's never that simple. You have no idea what you're risking." My mind raced, grappling with his words. What dark knowledge was bound to this device? "Don't you want this out? Don't you want people to know?" A shadow crossed his face, darkening his features. "No one is safe, not even you. There are forces at play that you can't begin to understand." His eyes darted to the far end of the room, panic evident. "They'll be looking for you." "Who?" The words slipped out of my mouth, heavy with dread. He took a step closer, lowering his voice. "The order. They protect the secrets of the Vatican fiercely. If they find out you have the laptop." He shook his head, despair written all over his face. "You'll bring destruction upon yourself." Chills ran down my spine. The order? I'd heard whispers about the shadowy group that operated within religious circles, its presence felt but rarely seen. I had walked blindly into a storm, and the winds were swiftning around me. Then help me. I felt the desperate need for guidance shoot through me. I can't do this alone. A flicker of something passed through his gaze. Fear? Regret? You think I can help? I'm in deep too, he confessed, voice quaking. More than you know. Before I could respond, the sharp sound of approaching footsteps echoed in the hallway, causing my heart to race anew. They were here. They're coming, I cried, scanning the room for any escape. The priest grabbed my arm. Move! He led me through a narrow door hidden behind a tapestry, barely ajar. I could barely process what was happening. Excitement coursed through my veins, mixed with sheer terror. We stumbled into yet another dim corridor. The stench of dampness seeped in, and the flickering of old bulbs overhead cast unsettling shadows. I pressed my back against the cool stone wall, heart hammering in my chest. Where do we go now? I whispered, the sound almost lost in the oppressive silence. Follow me, there's a way out, he insisted, but I could see the uncertainty etched into his own features. We hurried forward, glancing back nervously. With each quick step, I felt the weight of the laptop at my side. It was more than just a device now. It was a spark that might ignite a dangerous blaze. Just as we turned a corner, I heard a sudden commotion erupt behind us, a door slamming, voices shouting. My breath caught. They found us. Run! The priest shouted, but I hesitated. A part of me wanted to unravel the secrets that had drawn me here in the first place. What if this was my only chance? But before I could think, I was propelled forward down an even darker passage, the priest at my side, panic sharpening my senses. The path ahead appeared never-ending, a labyrinth of shadows and echoes. Every moment felt drawn out, time bending like the twisted corridors I was navigating. Just as I thought we'd finally escaped, a blinding light flooded our path, illuminating the face of a guard. Fear ignited within me, threatening to explode. Stop! The guard barked, and that single word echoed like a gunshot. Just as swiftly, I turned to search for an escape. Would we slip away, or would the shadows claim us before I could decipher the very truths that could rewrite everything? The moment felt suspended in time, and I had to make a decision. The sound of footsteps neared again. What would I choose, the darkness or the light? The guard's voice seemed to hang in the air like a noose tightening around my neck. Heart pounding, I felt the adrenaline surge through my veins, urging me to act. Somehow, I couldn't let this opportunity slip away. Back! Now! The guard demanded, drawing nearer, his flashlight slicing through the dark. Each step he took echoed my heartbeat, a rapid, staccato rhythm that screamed for survival. Come on! The priest urged, pulling me deeper into the shadows. I could see now that there was no debate, the only option was to run. But where? Panic clawed at my insides. We spun around, desperately searching for an escape, and the path behind us was blocked. The guard was closing in. If we go down here, the priest pointed toward a narrow slit in the wall, just wide enough for a person to slip through. It might lead us to the chapel, then we can get out. There was a wild look in his eyes, a mix between hope and fear. Before I could voice a thought, the footsteps of the guard thundered closer, and my instincts kicked in. I dove into the gap, the priest hot on my heels. The moment we squeezed through, the world outside fell away, replaced by a musty darkness. I crawled forward, something sharp scraping my knee. But I felt the pressure of urgency on my back, pushing me forward. We emerged on what seemed to be an old storage room. Piles of forgotten artifacts surrounded us, dusty candlesticks, torn vestments. It was a forgotten corner of the church. Which way? I gasped, trying to catch my breath. My brain raced, terrified we'd be caught. The chapel is upstairs, he replied, breathless. But we have to be quick. Just then, we heard the guard's voice calling out. They can't have gone far. Spread out. Panic twisted in my stomach. Quick! I hissed, slipping past him to the rotting wooden staircase that creaked precariously underfoot. The narrow steps felt treacherous, but we had no other choice. I could only hope the noise wouldn't give us away. As we climbed, my heart thudded harder, louder, drowning out the footsteps below us. Each step felt like a countdown. The guard could be just seconds behind us. I reached the top, breathless, and pushed through the door that led to the chapel. What lay before me was surreal, a magnificent sanctuary draped in shadows. Shafts of moonlight spilled through stained glass, casting kaleidoscopic patterns on the stone floor. But beauty was lost on me. We had no time to admire it. My senses were solely attuned to danger. Desperate, we darted for the back entrance, hoping for an escape out into the cloak of night. Just as I reached for the handle, lights blazed outside, flooding the chapel with stark reality. I froze, catching a glimpse of the guards forming a perimeter, their faces a mask of determination. The heavy wood door resisted my grip as I struggled to pull it open. "We're trapped," I gasped. Despair clawed at my throat. "There." The priest pointed to a tall window near the altar, its pane cracked and easily breakable. "We can escape through there." I didn't wait for him to say it again. With adrenaline surging, I dashed toward the stained glass, ignoring the sharp edges as I shoved my shoulder into it. The glass shattered, the sound ringing in my ears louder than the pounding of my heart. "Help me!" I shouted as shards fell around me. The priest scrambled beside me as he pulled off his jacket, using it to cover the jagged edges. Together, we managed to slip through. Outside, I felt the rush of cold night air hitting my face. Freedom! But as soon as we hit the ground, I realized it came with a price. I could hear the guards yelling, already on the move, reflecting lamps piercing through the darkness like spotlights on prey. "Where do we go now?" I gasped, adrenaline still coursing through my body. The street was deserted, but the echoes of a hunt closed in fast. "Into the shadows," the priest replied. "There's a place, my friend, he can help us." Time was a relentless adversary. Right then and there, I realized the truth was no longer a question of whether I wanted it, it was now a matter of survival. As we darted into the alley, the chase quickly turned into a blur of panic and urgency. I could feel it, the gnawing presence of the order hot on my tail. But what awaited at the end of this darkened road? Secrets, danger, or something even more sinister? I bit my lip. Whatever the night had in store, it was far from over. We dashed into the narrow alley, shadows swallowing us whole. The echoes of our frantic footsteps faded as the world behind us turned to chaos. The guard shouts became muffled, but that didn't mean we were safe. "Just around the corner," the priest urged, his voice urgent. "Follow me." Barely aware of where we were going, I kept my eyes peeled, my breath coming in short bursts. The darkness felt thicker here, alive. Every rustle sent shivers down my spine. I could almost hear the order breathing down my neck, their hunger for retrieval palpable. "Please don't let them catch us," I whispered, more to myself than to him. "We won't let that happen," the priest replied, determination in his tone. "My friend has a safe house nearby." We took a sharp left, the faint glow of a distant street lamp barely illuminating the slick pavement. Underfoot, I felt water pooling in the cracks, and I winced at the thought of what might be lurking beneath the surface. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from behind, the rattling of crates spilling into the alley as one of the guards stumbled into a stack of debris. The sound was immediately followed by angry curses. "They're right there!" I shouted, my heart leaping as fear clutched at my insides. "Run!" The priest pulled me onward, our pace intensifying as we dashed deeper into the maze of alleys. I fought to catch my breath, my lungs burning. We turned another corner, and my heart jumped to my throat. There, a narrow doorway stood, almost hidden beneath an iron archway draped in shadows. The sign overhead was barely legible, smudged and aged, but the faint name Alvaro appeared to shimmer under the moonlight. "Here. This is it." The priest shoved the door open, and we slipped inside just as the guard's voices grew louder. The moment the door clicked shut, the shadows seemed to envelop us, the silence pressing like a weight. We leaned against the cool brick wall, panting heavily. "We need to huddle in the back," the priest urged, dragging me further inside the cramped space. The room was dimly lit, littered with old furniture and scattered books, every corner filled to the brim with clutter. A stench of mildew, and something musty hung in the air. I glanced around, my fingers brushing against the spines of dusty tomes, each one wrapped in secrets of its own. I never thought I'd be here again, the priest muttered, eyes glinting with memories. A nudge of urgency made me creep forward, eager to explore this sanctuary. Do you think Alvaro can help us? I asked, my voice trembling with uncertainty. Yes, well connected, he replied. But he might be in deep with the order too. We'll need to tread carefully. Just then, the door rattled, and a shadow moved outside. My breath caught in my throat, fingers gripping a nearby chair for support. Hurry! We need to hide! I hissed, darting behind a towering bookshelf, pulling the priest along with me. Through a narrow crack, I could see a figure enter, the guard's face illuminated by the light of his flashlight. They couldn't have gone far, he growled, scanning the room with intensity. I held my breath, heart racing, everything inside me screaming to flee, but we couldn't expose ourselves. If only I could reach the old wooden door. Search everywhere, the guard shouted. They have nowhere left to go. I felt the priest tense beside me, the silent uncertainty vibrating between us. The reality of our situation crept in like menacing fog, merging with the shadows. Time felt like quicksand, dragging us down to a point of no return. As the guard stepped closer, my mind raced, piecing together the danger. Why had the priest brought me here? And most importantly, what dark truths lurked in the shadows, just out of reach? Then, just as the guard turned, a loud bang echoed from the street outside, catching everyone's attention. The last thing I saw was the guard's startled expression before he rushed out, yelling orders to his team. Now's our chance, the priest whispered urgently, nudging me toward the door. With my heart pounding in my ears, I glanced back at the shelf. What other secrets lay hidden in this storied sanctuary? Let us go, I breathed, stepping cautiously into the unknown, the echoes of danger still chasing us, each step bringing us closer to answers or to doom. What awaited us beyond the door? Would the truth finally be revealed, or would we plunge deeper into darkness? The questions gnawed at me as I stepped into the chaos of the night. We stepped out into the alley, the cold air biting at my skin like the watchful eyes of the city. I glanced back at the door, half expecting the guard to burst through. The world outside felt impossibly wide, filled with hidden threats lurking in every shadow. Stay close, the priest whispered sharply, scanning the street with wary eyes. I nodded, keeping my gaze sharp. It was unsettling how quickly the atmosphere shifted. The chaos felt like it had receded, but my instincts screamed that danger still lurked just out of sight. A flicker of movement caught my attention. A group of figures huddled together under a flickering streetlight across the way. Their silhouettes were stiff, standing with a purpose that sent chills down my spine. Quick, into that doorway, the priest urged, pointing to a nearby entrance to what looked like an abandoned shop. Without hesitating, I dashed after him, slipping inside just as the group turned, eyes gleaming in the dim light. The shop was long forgotten, shelves sagging under the weight of dust. I squinted into the darkness, trying to make sense of the shapes around us. Broken furniture and discarded crates painted a grim picture. Why are we hiding? I whispered, clenching my fists. We need to keep moving. The Order has eyes everywhere. We need to determine our next step, he replied, his voice a grim whisper. A low thudding echoed from the street, the heavy footprints of guards drawing closer, drowning my resolve and fear. I pressed my back against the wall, the cold brick a stark reminder of our peril. What if we don't make it? My voice trembled. What if we're caught? Listen to me, the priest said, his eyes fierce and unwavering. If they find us, it's not just us they'll capture. It's the knowledge we carry. Whatever secrets Alvaro may have, we must retrieve them to expose the truth. His conviction sent a flicker of hope through me that maybe, just maybe, we could unravel the dark threads that wove the Order together. The sound of approaching footsteps grew louder, the heavy boots reverberating like an impending storm. Shadows lengthened, reaching across the room toward us. I bit down on my lip, heart hammering against my chest. Then something unexpected happened. The overhead light flickered on, illuminating a figure standing at the back. I gasped as a wiry man appeared from behind a stack of crates, a wild shock of hair framing his sharp features. Alvaro. "Father!" Alvaro exclaimed, eyes wide with bewilderment. "You made it!" "Yes, but we don't have much time," the priest shot back, glancing at the door as the guards' voices layered with urgency. "They're closing in." "Follow me." Alvaro beckoned, darting toward the back of the shop. I followed without hesitation, fear coursing through me with every hurried step. He led us down a narrow corridor lined with peeling paint and broken tiles. "There's a safe basement. We can hide until this blows over." "Is it safe?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "It's as safe as it gets," he reassured, casting a glance back toward the door. "Trust me." I didn't have a choice. With every heartbeat drumming in my ears, we hurried into the basement, the door creaking ominously behind us. The dim light cast eerie shadows on the walls as we descended the stairs, the air growing damp and heavy. "What is down here?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "My secret," Alvaro replied cryptically, leading us deeper into the darkness. "It's time you knew what the Order is hiding." His words sent a ripple of anxiety through me. What could possibly await us in the murky depths of this abandoned place? As we reached the bottom, a soft glow flickered to life at the end of the hallway. I felt my pulse quicken. What were we about to uncover? "Stay close," Alvaro instructed, his expression grave. "What you'll see may change everything." The uncertainty clawed at me. What lay ahead would test our resolve even further, unraveling mysteries far darker than I ever imagined. My stomach clenched as we stepped closer to the source of light, a hidden truth ready to spill into view. Would it be salvation or damnation? What was hidden in the depths of Alvaro's secret? And would we be prepared for the truth that could shatter everything we believed? The corridor opened up into a small chamber, dimly illuminated by a flickering bulb hanging from the ceiling. Dust particles danced in the light, creating an almost ethereal atmosphere, but I felt no comfort. Instead, a chill crept down my spine, the urgency of our situation gnawing at my thoughts. Alvaro stepped forward, his frame silhouetted against the faint glow, casting a long shadow that seemed to reach for secrets hidden in the dark. "What is this place?" I asked, my voice trembling as I tried to keep my focus. "This," he said, gesturing around the room, "is where the Order keeps its most guarded relics and information. They think they're safe here, but they're wrong. They've underestimated the very thing they fear the most: truth." I couldn't help but feel the weight of his words. The flickering light revealed old tomes stacked carelessly, and an ancient map spread out on a dusty table, its edges yellowed and curling. A single display case stood proudly against the wall, enshrined with a glass barrier. Inside, artifacts looked very much like what you'd expect from a world connected to shadows and whispers, their purpose obscured by time itself. "Are those?" I began, my curiosity igniting. "Yes," Alvaro interrupted. "But we don't have time. We need to find what I came to show you." He moved to a dark corner, revealing a more modern-looking laptop, its screen cracked but still alive with a pulsing light. My heart raced. This was it. Alvaro meant to link his secret with the digital world, and the implications were enormous. "Get ready," he said, pulling up a chair and quickly typing in a password that seemed to flow from his fingers as if he'd rehearsed it a million times. His breaths became short and rapid, and I felt his urgency surge through the dim air. "What if they find us here?" I whispered, panic beginning to bubble inside me. "They won't," Alvaro replied, but I could hear the uncertainty in his voice. "They've never suspected this room exists." Just as he pressed the enter key, the laptop whirred to life, casting an ominous glow on Alvaro's face. The screen flickered with a series of files and folders, labels that hinted at powers unimaginable, the Vatican's darkest secrets, hidden archives, the conspiracy to control. "Holy!" I gasped, stunned at the discovery. This was real. Alvaro moved swiftly, tapping away, pulling up images and documents detailing everything from ancient texts to modern-day dealings that exposed the very foundation of the order, and what they'd done in the name of power. This, he said, breathless, could destroy them. But before he could delve deeper, a sound echoed through the basement, rapid intakes of breath that were all too familiar. The guards had continued their search, and they were getting closer. Panic gripped my throat like a vice. "Alvaro, we need to go!" I shouted, glancing toward the entrance, my mind racing. We couldn't be trapped here. Suddenly, the laptop screen flicked wildly before abruptly blacking out. "No!" Alvaro cursed, frantically hitting keys. It was as if fate itself decided we weren't meant to have this information. In the chaos, I heard footsteps pounding down the hallway, a rhythm that sent my heart into overdrive. I grabbed Alvaro's arm, pulling him back toward the door, even as he fought against the tide of urgency. "We can't leave!" he yelled, anger flashing in his eyes. "Not now! We're so close! The truth won't matter if we're caught." My voice rose with desperation, trying to be heard over the impending danger. His resolve faltered, and I could see the torn struggle in his eyes. I had to make him understand. What good was the truth if it came at the cost of our lives? Just then, the door rattled fiercely, sending a shock of adrenaline through me. They were here, and we had seconds, maybe less. Now or never! I urged, my heart pounding as the realization hit us both. We needed to escape, and whatever lay untouched on that laptop had no power if we were captured. As we dashed toward the exit, I took one last glance at the darkened screen, knowing that the secrets of the order were so close, yet slipping from our grasp. Would we emerge from the shadows, or would the order's grasp tighten around us? The door burst open, and I froze. The figure filling the doorway was not just any guard. It was someone who would send our hearts racing with dread, someone who recognized me instantly. And just like that, a new chapter of our perilous journey began, one that would test everything we believed in. Who was this person? What did they want? I stared into the eyes of the figure in the doorway, and my heart sank. It felt like time had stopped. There he stood, Daniel, my childhood friend, now a hunter of truth, or perhaps a soldier of the order. He was the last person I expected to see here, in this place filled with shadows and whispers. "Claire?" His voice echoed in the small chamber, a mix of astonishment and anger. It was a sound I had once loved, and now it sliced through me like a blade. "Daniel, don't. You can't be here." He advanced, and my instinct screamed at me to back away, but Alvaro stood firm beside me, a shield against the whirlwind that was Daniel. "Get back!" Alvaro growled, his face taut with determination. "Alvaro, you don't understand," Daniel snapped, ignoring the warning. "This isn't just some secret mission. It's bigger than you think. They won't let you both walk out of here." My mind raced through possibilities. Would Daniel betray us? Or would he help us escape? Tension filled the air like an electric current, crackling between us, every word carrying the weight of our past. "What are you doing here?" I cried, fighting to keep my voice steady. "You're still with them?" "It's not that simple." He fumbled, eyes darting to the laptop as if weighing the implications of its presence. "You don't know what they're capable of." The door creaked ominously as footsteps echoed behind Daniel. Guards, alerted by our noise, were closing in. I felt the urgency clawing at my throat. "Daniel, we need to leave. Now." I thrust my arm toward Alvaro, who was already moving toward the exit, the tension in his body like a coiled spring. Daniel hesitated, confusion dancing in his eyes. "I can't just let you leave with what you've found." "What's more important, Daniel? Your loyalty or our lives?" I shouted, desperation lacing my words. "Claire, you really don't get it." Before he could finish, the moment-shattered guards stormed into the room, floodlights from their flashlights piercing through the dim space, brightening what had felt like an otherworldly realm. "Get on the ground. Hands up," one shouted, and Alvaro immediately shoved me toward the side wall. Panic surged through my veins. I could feel the hot breath of dread against my neck. This was it. Would they really capture us like this, so close to the truth? Daniel glanced over his shoulder, a war raging inside him. I could see he was torn, caught between duty and the friendship we once had. I can help you, he stammered, raising a hand to signal the guards to hold back. Just give me a minute. Daniel, no! I shouted, but it was too late. Before I knew it, he was moving toward them, waving a hand as if to pacify the wolves invading our sanctuary. They're with me, he announced, his voice steady but strained. Uncertainty washed over me. Was he trying to protect us or stalling for his own ends? Claire, follow my lead, Daniel said, fixing his gaze on me, an unspoken plea suffusing his words. I felt a lump in my throat. I trusted him once, could I now? With guards closing in, my heart hammered like a drum. What would happen if I followed? Did I truly have a choice? The room buzzed with a heavy silence, tensions peaking like gasoline waiting for a match. Then something deep in me sparked a tiny flame of hope despite the turmoil. What if Daniel was still the friend I once knew? But could trust be rebuilt when secrets lay like serpents between us? In that moment I had to choose, risk it all to leap into the uncertain arms of an old friend or fight my way toward whatever truth eluded us. One path led to survival, the other to betrayal. Claire, Daniel urged, stepping closer, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. This is our chance. And then, just like that, everything seemed to freeze around us, a breath held in time, awaiting a decision that could alter everything. Who would I trust now when the lines between allies and enemies blurred? The guards moved forward, weapons drawn, ready to take us down for good. What choice would I make, and what would it cost us all? The moment hung heavy in the air, time slipping like sand between my fingers. I barely had time to think as the guards shifted, weapons raised with an unsettling authority. Stay calm, everybody, Daniel called out, his voice reverberating with a false sense of control. We're all friends here. Friends? My mind screamed, how could he stand there with that word, knowing everything at stake? The hard glare of the guard amplified my panic. Hands up. One of them barked again, stepping closer, the crunch of boots echoing against the cold, concrete floor. Fear gripped my chest like a vice, squeezing the breath from my lungs. Claire! Daniel's voice cut through my haze. I know it's hard to trust me, but this is our only shot. Trust me. The words reverberated in me, old echoes from our childhood when we'd ventured into the woods, building forts, trusting in the adventure. But this was no game. This was survival. Just then, Alvaro grabbed my wrist. We can't wait for him. His urgency brought me back to the moment, heart racing even faster. We have to move. The guards shifted, narrowing in on Daniel, who still stood at the front, bravely facing the storm. I could see the tension in his body. He was torn, yet here he was, risking it all. Daniel! Get out of the way! My heart thudded, every second feeling like an eternity. Each shared glance between us felt like a gamble, his loyalty against my instincts. But he held his ground, even as a guard stepped forward, weapon leveled right at his chest. You're obstructing an arrest, step back now. Listen to me, Daniel exclaimed, his voice sharper. I can explain. They don't want you taken in, they want you gone for good. I froze, confusion swirling in my mind. Gone for good? What did he mean? In that beat of confusion, I locked eyes with him. Why would they want us dead? I pressed, grasping for a way through the chaos. Because of what you found. He shouted back over the guard's shouts, his fear palpable. It's not just a laptop, it's evidence linked to their operations. They can't let it fall into the wrong hands. The guard took another step forward, and my heart raced. Daniel! I shouted, we don't have time for this. I'll create a distraction, he said, determination hardening his features. Alvaro, you have to get Claire out of here. I'll hold them off. My mind screamed with the weight of his words. No! You can't! But Alvaro was already pulling me back toward the door, whispering promises of safety in my ear. We can do this. You and me. Trust me. Daniel's face twisted, caught between fear and resolution. The guard's hand began to move as he shouted at both sides to listen, the urgency growing in the air. My heart thudded loudly, a drum echoing against the impending clash. "Just go!" Daniel shouted, an edge of desperation now creeping into his voice. "Now!" As if on cue, he threw himself against the guards, creating a momentary crack in the wall of authority. My pulse raced. This was our chance, a moment birthed from chaos. "Run!" Alvaro urged, tugging me toward the exit as Daniel faced the guards, fists raised, elbows flaring. Adrenaline surged within me as I sprinted alongside Alvaro, pushing through the door, outside where I could breathe, but at what cost? Darkness enveloped us and we raced, steel doors echoing in our wake, the sounds of chaos fading behind. The night was thick with shadows, the thrill of escape mingling with despair for my friend left behind. But as we rounded a corner, Alvaro halted abruptly. "Wait," he hissed, eyes darting around. "Where do we go now?" Instinctively, panic resurfaced. "I don't know," I gasped, the uncertainty clawing my insides. What does Daniel really know? What have we stumbled into? In the distance, I could hear the faint yelling from the guards, getting closer, driving the urgency deeper. "Let us just find a safe place," Alvaro urged, the tension overtaking us. "We need to regroup." But I felt that this wasn't over, not by a long shot. As we stumbled into the dark alley, the shadows seemed to whisper secrets, dark and forgotten secrets that might just unveil everything. And suddenly, a chilling thought gripped me. What if everything we thought we knew was a carefully woven lie? What if Daniel's allegiance was more dangerous than we could imagine? I paused, fear twisting in my gut. "Alvaro, what if Daniel, what if he is the real threat?" Before he could respond, the night exploded with gunfire, reverberating in my chest like a battle cry. "Run!" I yelled, but dread surged anew. Was it still him fighting for us, or had he chosen his side? With an exit shot resounding in the distance, we dashed further into the unknown, hearts pounding, questions left dangling in the chaos. One thought echoed louder than the gunfire. We might have just unleashed something much darker than we had ever expected. I barely had a moment to gather my breath before Alvaro and I were weaving through the twisting labyrinth of the alley. The echoes of the gunfire still resonated in my ears, a constant reminder of how close danger lingered. Shadows danced grotesquely around us, every flicker setting my nerves on fire. I glanced back once, my heart hammering as I half expected to see figures emerging from the darkness, guns raised and anger boiling. "Where'd you get that paranoid look?" Alvaro snapped, breaking the tension, though the quiver in his voice betrayed his own fear. "We have to keep moving." "Right." "Sorry," I nodded, pushing forward, but my mind was racing even faster. "You said you didn't know where to go." It must have been my pale face that propelled him to the front, instinctively guiding us through the narrow passage. "But we have to figure out who we can trust." I whispered, "What if Daniel—" "Stop!" he hissed, cutting me off. "We don't have time to think about him now. We need to make sure we are safe first. Then we can think about the best way to help him." But the weight of those words, was it still helping him? Pressed down on me. What if he was involved in something more sinister than we realized? My thoughts spiraled, dangerously close to the edge of paranoia. Suddenly, an insistent beeping emanated from my jacket pocket, cutting through the chaos of my thoughts. My pulse spiked as I fished out my phone, heart racing as I stared at the screen. It was a text from Daniel. "If you're alive, get to the old theater on 5th. Trust no one. Trust no one." The words wrapped around my throat like a noose. Could I trust him, or was this a trap? "Alvaro," I turned to him, the phone shaking in my grip. "Daniel just texted. He wants us to meet him at the old theater on 5th. Theater?" Alvaro laughed bitterly. "Claire, that's south, the last place we should go. It's a damn death trap. We can't be going anywhere he tells us, but what if he really is trying to help?" My voice trembled with desperation. "He took a risk for us back there. We can't leave him." Before Alvaro could respond, the sound of distant shouting reached us, drawing ever closer. Someone was coming, and they weren't interested in polite conversation. "We need to make a decision now," Alvaro urged, urgency seeping into every word. "We can either follow that text, or we get the hell out of this area and regroup." I felt the walls closing in, time pushing down like a sudden weight. My heart was a wild drum, drowning out the safe choices. What if an explosion of noise hung in the air, the echoing shouts of guards being chased through the alley? My stomach dropped as panic flooded my veins. "Run!" Alvaro yelled, cutting through my turmoil. I didn't hesitate this time. Fear propelled us, and we dashed further down the alley, deeper into the maze of night. We burst onto a dimly lit street, gasping for breath, a stark contrast to the chaos we had just escaped. But there was no sanctuary. The streets were oddly empty, and that emptiness felt like an ominous warning. "What now?" Alvaro queried, glancing around, clearly torn between instinct and fear. "We can't go to the theater without backup." I looked at him, resolving to take charge. "Let us find a safe house, somewhere to figure out our next move." A shadow shifted behind a nearby dumpster, and then out stepped a figure. My breath hitched in my throat. A woman, clad in darkness, met our eyes. I could barely catch her features, but dread washed over me. "Claire." "Alvaro," she called, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. "Do you know her?" Alvaro whispered, stepping back slightly. "No!" I gasped, the name on my lips held back in fear. "But how does she know us?" A slow smile spread across her face, taunting and knowing. "I've been waiting for you. You both shouldn't have been involved, but now you're so wonderfully deep in it." A chill shot down my spine. Before I could respond, behind her, shadows began to ripple, figures materializing from the dark. They were flanking us, blocking our paths. "Escape isn't an option anymore," she said softly, revealing more of the shrouded crowd behind her. "Who are you?" Alvaro shouted, panic clawing at his voice. "Everything you thought you knew will fade away in the light of revelation." As the air thickened and the crowd closed in, I felt my heart racing again, questions spiraling as uncertainty swallowed our only inkling of safety. But if she was here, was Daniel following behind, or had he betrayed everything we had fought for? The tightening circle closed around me, and I strained to hold on to a flicker of hope. The truth was just out of reach, but could it be more dangerous than the secrets we already uncovered? And then everything clicked. I wasn't sure if I wanted to learn more, or if ignorance was the true safety in the dark. "Get away from us!" I screamed, but reality was shifting. The weight of dread settled on my chest as I realized the truth was coming for us faster than I could run. What lay ahead? Would we face death or enlightenment? The shadows seemed to whisper, drowning out everything else as I braced for the impact of the truth unraveling before us. The world around me rearranged itself in a disorienting blur as those dark figures closed in. Fear surged from my core, and adrenaline coursed through my veins. The woman's smile was just the tip of an iceberg too chilling to comprehend, and I felt time slipping through my fingers like sand. "Listen to me!" I shouted, desperation pushing me to the forefront. "We don't know anything yet. We're just trying to survive." The woman raised her hand, halting the advancing figures. "Ah, yet here you both stand, playing at heroes. It's amusing and tragic." Her eyes glinted with a blend of malice and amusement. "You think you stumbled onto the dark's secrets, but you've just scratched the surface." The crowd shifted, closing in tighter, but Alvaro stepped forward, voice steady. "Who are you? What do you want?" "Why, to unveil truth, of course," she replied with a slight smirk. "The very truth you were eager to uncover. But be warned, it may not be the salvation you hoped for." Her words slithered around us, edging toward madness, unraveling the sense of safety we had left. Behind us, a rush of footsteps echoed through the night, and within moments, Daniel appeared from the shadows, breathless but focused. "Claire!" "Alvaro! Get back!" "Daniel!" I shouted, confusion and relief crashing together in my chest. Had he truly come to help? "Just listen." He focused on the woman. "You don't need to do this." She laughed softly, a sound void of any warmth. "But I want to, Daniel. You have done nothing but toy with shadows and light. Wait. You know him? I interjected, realizing the depths of this tangled web. What is happening? Panic clawed at my throat. Everything is interconnected, she said, stretching out her arms as if weaving a grand narrative. Daniel, you know this better than anyone. The secrets of the Vatican are in your blood. Your family has worked for the order for generations. Stop it! Daniel shouted, anger flashing in his eyes. I'm not like them. Are you sure? She challenged, probing deeper, her demeanor unwavering, like she was chiseling away at the cracks of his facade. What have you done for the truth lately? The shadows of doubt flickered around us all. Anxiety swelled in my chest as Daniel faltered, confusion flickering across his face. But Alvaro held firm. We don't have time for this. He took a step back, eyes darting, assessing escape routes. Then I heard a thundering noise echoing in the distance. The guards. They were back, the hunt was resuming, and the choices were narrowing. We need to go now. I gasped, urgency coursing through me. We can figure this out later. Suddenly, the woman's eyes widened. Your time is running out, she hissed, tilting her head as if weighing our next move. Decide now. Tell me, will you embrace the truth or ignore it? There's no safety in ignorance. No one is hiding from the truth. Alvaro seethed, stepping forward. Not anymore. Then choose your path wisely, she warned, the shadows behind her merging and swirling like a storm. Only one will leave with the knowledge they crave. The other shall face the order alone. The tension thickened as choices burdened my breast. That enigmatic door of hope lay ajar, only a crack longer. We don't have to fight. I shouted desperately into the void, my heart pounding as uncertainty sliced deeper. Daniel, drop your ties with them. I urged. He stood at a pivotal point, poised to make a decision that could change everything. I can't, he muttered, overwhelmed. Then it settled. The woman stepped back, a twisted smile illuminating her features. Your time here is over. The crack of gunfire rang through the night, piercing the air like a death knell. Let us go now. I screamed, lunging forward. In that moment, Daniel turned away from her and toward us. Run! With Daniel at my side, the shadows around us blurred momentarily, shouts of guards echoing close behind. We darted into the nearby alleyway, Alvaro leading the charge. Every second blurred into a desperate race for survival, and the adrenaline propelled my feet faster as we took sharp turns into the night. Alvaro's panicked voice urged us onward. Keep going! Panic surged as fire lit him. We burst onto a main street, where the illuminated life of the city felt almost jarring. But danger still loomed. Where are we going? Daniel gasped, breathless from the sprint. Anywhere but here. I shot back, squeezing past crowds that felt largely unaware of our urgent flight. Suddenly, out of the corner, a familiar face caught my Alvaro's contact, a middle-aged woman standing by a van covered in shadows. In here. Quick! She urged, a flicker of determination lighting her eyes. As we dove inside, the drumming of my heart mirrored the chaos outside. We huddled inside as the door slammed shut, sealing us in a world of hushed whispers and heavy breaths. Are we safe? I asked, anxiety knotting my stomach. Not yet, Alvaro said. We need to plan. The truth about the laptop, it is crucial. We will expose the order if we can survive this, Daniel added, his gaze steady and unwavering. I felt a surge of hope, but was still haunted by uncertainty. And the woman? What was she really after? Alvaro glanced at Daniel, who remained lost in thought. The truth will unravel everything, and we must hold on to what we've discovered together, he said firmly. I clenched the edges of my seat, battling the complex waves of dread and hope. After everything, we have to be stronger than the shadows around us, I proclaimed, feeling something break inside an awakening. If we can believe in this truth, we can fight back. Daniel nodded slowly, understanding, reconciling within him. The three of us together could not allow fear to dictate our path. Our fight was just beginning, and in that moment, I knew we each found our resilience anew. As long as we could breathe, we could push back against the chaos unraveling around us. Let us bring them down, I whispered, determination igniting the spark within. And as the van moved forward into the unknown, I finally believed we could edge our way into the light. Now's your chance. You need to subscribe immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive story. Smash the like button now and help feed the algorithm with your support. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about the ending. We want to hear from you. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see what comes next. Let us rally together and uncover the truth.